If you are the one who is struggling with different terminologies in payment in NEC for ECC, this video is for you. Over the years in my consultancies, in my training services for this ICE and EC, I've come to realize that perhaps many of the times we need to go back to the fundamental concepts and understand them from the first principles before we go into those complicated contract issues. And by the way, leave those complicated issues to the experts. I'm sure many of the experts outside there will be able to support you. But for most of us here, the project manager, the project engineers here, we need to make sure our basic concepts or our foundations are right. So let's talk about payment again. Last time when we talked about payment in another video, I said how to pay the contractor. We pay the contractor by just one equation only. That equation is the amount due equals price for work done to date plus and minus. And then I said price for work done to date depends on different options. Option A, activity schedule. Option B, bill of quantities. Option C, D, E, and F, defined cost and fee. So let's talk about different elements here. Some of you here may mix up activity schedule and defined cost and fee. And then some of you will say, well, how about the prices? Then we have total of the prices. How about the target? How about price for work done today? They all look very similar. So let's break it down. Let's go to option A now. Option A, activity schedule. What is an activity schedule? An activity schedule is a list of activities. And for each activity, you have got one figure to pay the contractor. So you just go to the site, look at that activity. If that activity is 100% completed, then you pay the contractor a certain figure. We call that figure the prices. So one activity, one price. Two activities, two prices. Three activities, three prices. Each of all these figures, they are the prices. So that is option A. How about option B? Option B, bill of quantities. A bill of quantities is a list of items, and for each item you have one quantity, one rate. You multiply the quantity by the rate, you come up with a certain figure. So one item, one figure. Two items, two figures. We all call these figures the prices in option B. However, in option B, we need to remeasure the items. What does that mean? It means if in the bill of quantities originally we've got 100 meters of water PE pipes, and now in reality we say we have got 150 meters of water PE pipes, then we need to remeasure the quantity of that water PE pipes and pay the contractor accordingly. So instead of paying the contractor 100 meters, we are paying the contractor 150 meters. We have 50 meters more here, and therefore we need to remeasure that. You need to put that back in to the payment equation, and therefore the price for work done to date includes the original lump sum calculated by multiplying the original quantity and the rate together with the remeasured or the extra quantities that you have got and multiply that by the rate. You pay everything to the contractor as the price for work done to date. So that is option B. How about option C, D, E, and F? Let's say option C and D first. Option C and D, we call those the target contract. So in option C, we pay the contractor by defined cost and fee. So what is a defined cost? A defined cost is the cost as defined in the contract. Then when the contract, a defined cost is defined in the contract in a document called the schedule of cost component. It is just a name. So what is a schedule of cost components? A schedule of cost components is simply a list of items, a list of cost items that we are going to pay the contractor. But instead of calling that cost items, we call that cost components. Instead of calling that a list, we call that a schedule. So this list of cost items becomes a schedule of cost components. This list of items, this schedule of cost components, show a number of different cost components which are very similar to the cost centers. For example, people cost, equipment cost, manufacturer cost, design cost, subcontractor cost. All these are the defined costs. Whatever not on that list will be the fee. Whatever on that list will be the defined cost. Then what is the fee then? The fee is a figure calculated by multiplying the defined cost by a certain percentage. So defined cost times a certain percentage, we come up with a fee. You pay the contractor by defined cost plus fee. Then how do we call the percentage here? We call that percentage a fee percentage identified in the contract data, and therefore the fee percentage is in italics. So we have defined cost and fee, giving you the price for work done to date. And the contract says, let's compare the target with the price for work done to date and share the difference. It can be a pain, it can be a gain. So that is option C. Then some of us here may be struggling with, how about activity schedule? Now let me just make this statement. An activity schedule has nothing to do with defined cost. The other way around is true. A defined cost has nothing to do with the activity schedule. The activity schedule is again that schedule with different activities with all the prices in there. You add all the prices up, then let's call that the total of the prices. And we call that the total of the prices the target. Let's compare the target with the price for work done to date, share the pain and gain. So that is option C. Option D, we use BQ. We use BQ. So BQ is again a list of items with a quantity and a rate. You multiply the quantity times the rate, you get the price. And then you have more than one price, and therefore you have the prices. You have the prices. Now, if you just add all the prices as in the original BQ in the tender stage, it will not give you the target. Why? Because in a BQ contract, you have remeasurement. Originally, you have 100 meters of water PE pipes. Now it becomes 150 now. If you simply add all the prices up, you're just calculating the 100 meters here. How about the extra 50? And therefore, you need to put it back in, the extra 50 back in, into the equation. And therefore, when we say we add everything up in the BQ, we need to include the remeasurement item. And let's call all these summations just one defined term. That defined term is called the total of the prices. The whole phrase is a defined term. And therefore, you will see the T in the total here, it becomes a big letter T, total, because the total of the prices, this whole phrase is a defined term. And let's call that total of the prices in option D, the target. Compare the target, which is the total of the prices, with the price for work done today. Let's share the pain and gain. Versus in option C, the prices is the defined term. The total of the prices, the first few words, the total of, they are just English terms. They are just descriptive terms. You can as well call that the summation of the prices, the aggregate of the prices. But it just so happened that in NEC form, we call that the total of the prices, with the T here being a small letter total T. So I hope that may clear some of the confusions outside. So the defined cost has nothing to do with the activity schedule nor the bill of quantities. The activity schedule and the bill of quantities in option C and D simply give you the target. How about option E and F now? E and F, we don't have a target, then conceptually or concept-wise, it's easier to understand. You simply pay the contractor again by PWDD plus and minus. That PWDD comes from defined cost NV. And then for option E, that defined cost will come from the schedule of cost components. It's the same. Option F, we don't even need to define a defined cost in the schedule of cost components because that's a management contract. And as I said many times during training courses, focus on option A, B, C, D, and E. Then we will understand NEC 4. Option F is the odd one out. So understand A, B, C, D, E at least as the basic concepts, as the first principles. Then we understand many of the payment terminologies and mechanisms in NEC 4. So I hope this is helpful for you. Now let me know if you understand all these. If you do not understand or if you want me to clarify something, feel free to send me an email. Feel free to reach out. Nowadays, as I said, it's almost my hobby now, and I found out that these videos in this channel actually help quite a lot of delegates in their accreditation journeys. Even for the project managers who are practicing outside, I realize sometimes these short videos may be helpful for you. If you want me to make more on a certain topic, let me know. Feel free to reach out and stay in touch.